When December rolled around, I expected my parents' usual call about Christmas. They had always been the ones to host, and even though our family had its ups and downs, I thought I'd at least get the invite like my siblings. Instead, when my sister mentioned the family dinner, I realized the truth. They had invited everyone except me. No message, no call, nothing. I was their eldest child, yet it felt like I didn't exist. The sting cut deeper than I wanted to admit. I had worked for years, built businesses, invested smartly, and eventually bought a sprawling ranch worth $5 million. But none of it seemed to matter to my parents. They still treated me as if I was the black sheep of the family, the one who never quite fit their image. At first, I wanted to confront them. I typed out angry messages, rehearsed bitter phone calls in my head, but I stopped myself. If they thought excluding me was a lesson, maybe it was time to teach them one of my own. I decided to throw my own Christmas celebration, on my ranch, open invitation. Friends, colleagues, distant relatives who barely spoke to me, even neighbors, they were all welcome. The planning began quickly. I hired a catering team, brought in live music, and decorated the ranch with more lights than a small town. Word spread fast, and the RSVPs poured in. People were curious. Many of them had never seen my ranch before, and Christmas seemed like the perfect excuse. By Christmas Eve, cars lined the long driveway. Guests marveled at the stables, the lodge, the giant tree I had installed in the main hall. Laughter filled the air, glasses clinked, music played. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the forgotten one. I felt celebrated, surrounded by people who actually wanted to be there. Then, midway through the evening, my phone buzzed. It was my mother. At first, I ignored it, but the phone kept ringing. When I finally answered, her voice was sharp. "Why didn't you tell us you were hosting Christmas?" she demanded. I almost laughed. "Why would I?" I said calmly. "You didn't invite me to yours." There was silence on the line before she sighed heavily. She tried to make excuses, that it was a small gathering, that they assumed I'd be too busy, that maybe I wouldn't want to come. But I knew the truth. They thought leaving me out wouldn't matter. Within the hour, another call came, this time from my father. His tone was different, almost uneasy. He asked how many people were there, who had shown up. When I told him, he whistled low, impressed despite himself. "Seems like you've made quite the Christmas," he admitted. The strangest part was when my siblings began calling too. First my brother, then my sister, both asking why they hadn't been invited to my ranch party. I told them the same thing, because you were already busy with Mom and Dad. The guilt in their voices was clear, though they tried to cover it with jokes. The calls didn't stop. Some relatives who had gone to my parents' dinner realized my ranch party was bigger, livelier, and they wanted to come over too. A few even left my parents' table mid-meal to drive out and join us. By midnight, the ranch was glowing with energy. I stood on the balcony overlooking the crowd, realizing I had turned my parents' rejection into something powerful. I didn't need their approval or their table. I had built my own, and it was overflowing. The next morning, I got a final call from my mother. Her voice was quieter, almost defeated. She said maybe next year we could combine the celebrations, that it wasn't right for the family to be split. I smiled to myself but gave no promise. Christmas had shown me the truth. I didn't need to beg for a seat at their table anymore. I had my own. And for once, everyone else wanted to be at mine. From that year onward, the ranch became the new Christmas tradition, not theirs. My parents had tried to erase me, but instead, they made me the center of everything. And every time I walked past the grand hall where the first party took place, I remembered the night the call started, and how rejection turned into the sweetest kind of revenge.